G'day, welcome to one of my vlogs for 50 Bits of Bull. It's Dave Middleton here, and today I'm going to talk about sugars. Back in my home county of Yorkshire, when something goes wrong, you basically hit your thumb with a hammer. We say, "Oh, sugars!" Especially if your mum's around, someone polite around. You're not going to say what you want to say, which is shit, because that's what "oh, sugars" is saying. It's just a nice way of saying "oh shit" when something goes wrong, you know. And that's how I view refined sugar. So that white, nasty sugar, even the brown stuff, the fake stuff, dodgy, horrible, nasty shit, is sugar. And that's what it is. And we need to avoid this stuff through substitution, easy things like stevia, or abstinence. Just basically, it's the best way is just to avoid this stuff. Do not have it in your diet. One of my friends' weights fluctuates quite radically as it shoots up over summer. When he works less and tends to drink more, which he says is fine. He knows his weight will eventually return to normal during winter when his work gets really busy. But what he doesn't fully understand is how dangerous each of these ever increasing upward swings in his weight is to his general health, and that's where the sugars is having a big effect. God knows what state his poor liver is in, or what the effect of the prolonged release of fat molecules into his bloodstream have on his health when he burns off that fat over winter when he's really busy. Whereas calorie counting and aiming for around 2,000 calories a day is a much safer option, which allows for a higher calorie cheat day of 3,000 calories, maybe a bit more per week, once per week. This keeps your weight very consistent on the whole, a lot better than having like shooting up in weight and dropping down in weight and up and down. It's constant roller coaster of weight gain and weight loss. However, when he tends to be a meat and veg man, admittedly, and he's busy at work, basically when he has no time to snack or drink much during the week, it results in a dramatic weight loss. When he is not busy with work, he has more time in his hands and he tends to snack more on the wrong foods, and his portion size increases, and this goes on for months, as well as drinking just a lot more alcohol, mainly beer, which contains malted sugars, and in the hot weather can increase dehydration and fatigue, which just means you just end up eating more of the nasty sugary foods or salty snacks that are just going to have a bad impact on your health. Of course, the junk food he reaches for to shake off the hangovers is also impregnated with sugar, hollow carbs, and that's just fundamentally lacking in any protein, fiber, vitamins and minerals. Totally the opposite stuff we actually want to eat. Examples of hollow carbs are white bread, rice, boiled potatoes, pasta, processed food, part of which it's just all that bad stuff. We all know it's like you go to a supermarket and like 80% of the stuff in there is that kind of crap. That's what I'm talking about. His immediate problem is just a simple lack of understanding about the impact on his weight and general body shape, purely based on his daily intake of sugary foods and drinks. Okay, on another occasion, I took 4 people to an Indian meal and ordered tandoori chicken for starters in the restaurant and lamb curry for the main, as both dishes were relatively high in protein. However, whereas I only asked for a single plain roti made from whole wheat flour without yeast, that was me, my friend ordered the same, but also a chapati, a garlic naan, an extra bowl of rice, and also a Kingfisher Indian beer when we already had red wine on the table. At the end, I felt uplifted. I was feeling good. And after that lovely spicy meal, because I didn't eat the oily curry sauce or any of the rice. However, he was not feeling very well at all, being physically bloated, experiencing pressure building up on his internal organs like a slow form of water torture, as well as experiencing a guilt trip related to his half-eaten takeaway naan, which was just another reminder of his gluttony and because of his being binging. I was sympathetic to his plight, however, as I know all too well the pressure that buying too much food in the first place puts you under, and that's why I avoid all-you-can-eat buffets like the plague. Not for me. My strategies when dining out are under-order at the start and then over-order order more if you need it as you go. If you got 3 courses, why not order 3 times? Someone comes along, it's like, what do you want for starter? What do you want for main? What do you want for your pudding? Like, I can't even think about the pudding. Like, I'll order my starter, I go from there. I might be done with a starter. Might be a big starter, and I might be done. Or I might just jump straight to the main. I certainly don't want to talk about dessert in the first 5 minutes sitting down somewhere. So yeah, my strategies when dining out are under order and just order more. Ask for a doggy bag as well at the end, take away for later. There's nothing wrong with like 7, 8 o'clock at night, taking home some nice bit of extra steak or a couple of ribs you might have had left over or something, have them for supper later on that night, or save them for lunch the next day. Nothing wrong with that. Good old doggy bag works a treat. But mainly by eating the foods, the high protein dishes, or only eating the meat, fish and veggies and salad and shared dishes, I get the best bang for my buck anyway. That sadly others don't focus on, as I personally see that expensive food group as worth at least $10 a kg. Also, healthy fats at the same time a good value. You know, healthy fats, which I'm talking about. You know, almonds, nut fats, olive oil, avocados. They're all sort of like $10 a kg as well. So I get $10 a kg of value for every kg I eat of that wonderful stuff. Whereas sugary foods and whole carbs such as rice, potatoes, etc., only cost $1 a kg in my head. They're 10 times cheaper than them healthy fats and them good proteins, and are therefore so cheap that you'd have to eat heaps of them to even get a few dollars worth. So if you went to a buffet and you're paying out $20, $30 and you're just eating loads of that crap, some potatoes and chips and all this sort of stuff, you're just only going to get $2 or $3 worth of stuff, even if you eat a lot of it. As I bought the meal for everyone in advance via Groupon as well, popular online discount seller on the internet, similar to Grab One in New Zealand here, I also brought along a bottle of red wine, and the place was BYO, bring your own. So there's no, and there wasn't even a corkage fee in this Indian restaurant in Bradford, which was amazing. I just said to all my guests, all they'd have to pay for would be any extras they might want. So my friend could have had a meal with wine at no cost to himself or his family, but because of his bad habits getting the better of him, the quality of our experience was also degraded, as it wasn't very nice or pleasant watching Mr. Creosote gorging on starchy foods when complaining about feeling stuffed, confirming the view that the Western world is the most well-fed but poorly nourished race on the planet. Even a little bit of concentrated sugar, or even sweetener, to be honest, artificial sweetener, it can be all it takes to trigger the cravings for more shortly after that first taste. You know, one bite of a Mars bar is never enough, you can eat the whole thing. And alcohol has the same effect, but doubly so. Because you also have the sugar dissolved in the drink and not just the alcohol, as well as the other after effects such as fatigue and dehydration, which leads to overeating, the long-term effects of alcohol on the liver are not pretty, and often we crave sugary foods the following day after a big session. So cut out the alcohol as well as sugar, and you will never turn back and feel healthier and less bloated within a week. Also, don't feel the need to give the sweet crap you don't want to eat yourself to your friends or kids. Just don't buy it or take it if someone offers it to you either, as what you are actually doing to the kids is setting their eating patterns to be skewed towards unhealthy foods. And trust me, the sweet tooth they grow in childhood will dog them right through their adult lives. No wonder we are seeing more and more teenagers and young adults with unnatural body shapes, as sugar is placing fatty deposits even further away from their major muscle groups around the stomach and thighs, where it's really hard to shift in later life. Consider this, once your friends become aware of how bad certain foods are, they might actually get pissed off with you if you're offering that nasty stuff like Tim Tams and biscuits when they come round, because you don't no longer eat them, you're trying to give them away to other people. And the reason why they get pissed off is because you're challenging them to resist that stuff, and they'd rather just have it out of harm's way and they don't have to think about it. Whereas if you offered them a nice handful of raw cashews, almonds, Brazils, you know, costing $15, $20 a kg, the really good nuts, that they might really appreciate that. You know, it's like a small bowl of nuts there, they come round, maybe having a light beer if you want, or just like come around for a cup of tea, they'll really appreciate that. If you really want to impress them, make some homemade cashew nut butter, and you can have that on whole wheat crackers, mixed raw nuts. You could do a dukkha spice mix. You could have sugar-free protein bars ready-made, or sugar-free bliss balls ready-made, just made from soaked cashews, chopped dates, and shredded coconut. In another example, I was out playing golf on a full-distance PGA course with some guys, and we were all flagging by 10-4. So my buddy reaches for his bag of the magic cure for fatigue, Haribo-Kimbos, which are these soft, multicoloured gummy sweets or lollies, whereas I had a protein bar to hand that had been frozen overnight so it wouldn't go to mush in my golf bag. Of course, in only 5 minutes, the guys who've been eating his Haribos feeling revived and good. But I watched them closely, and by the 16th hole, they were much worse off than they were before, and they're really struggling now and craving for even more sugar, and in this case, an obligatory pint of beer in the clubhouse. Whereas I was quite happy to settle for a nice water that day with a slice of lemon in it to cool down and rehydrate. It was quite a hot day, and also my energy levels had levelled out quite nicely, and I was really enjoying the muscle tightening across my shoulders as I don't play golf very often. All that swinging. It's common knowledge that most fruits are bad for you in excess. So they're moving on now, yeah? It's very much that way, that you don't want to have too much fruit, but it's not widely known that the reason why they state no sugar in foods, no sugar added in foods. So like yogurts and concentrated juice drinks that contain just as much sugars, but from concentrated fruit pulp, as if they just put normal refined sugar in to a yogurt to sweeten it. The same as low fat being industry speak for being rammed with sugar to get over the problem of the food tasting like cardboard, because they've taken all the flavour out with the fat and cream, i.e. Jack Link's beef jerky. People think that's healthy. It's 99% fat free, but it's approximately 20% sugar. It pisses me off, because that shit, it's got sugar added to it. And there's sugar added to every bloody thing anyway, not just pick on Jack Link's beef jerky as well, even though that is garbage. Chiefly, it's refined sucrose, but also, even worse, high fructose corn syrup, which is HFCS for short. But that corn syrup's really bad stuff. It's a lot more sweet and a lot more addictive than just even normal sugar. So you can stick you have refined sugar, your blinking sugar pimps, stick it where the sun don't shine. Fat is not the cause of the chronic diseases, it's the carbohydrates and the subsequent insulin secretion. So if we avoid sucrose, starches and carbs, insulin levels fall, and as a result we burn off the fat as fuel. That's why the low carb, high fat diet is really taking off. So again, LCHF, low carb, high fat. That's the new vogue, that's the way to go. In New Zealand, they bring the cane sugar in by boatload from overseas in its unrefined state to Chelsea Sugar, Birkenhead. Then refine it to make it even more addictive and easier to process. So they make it even more, it comes in raw, then they make it even more addictive and easier to process, so that all the other factories upstream in the food chain can pollute our diets with evil sugary foods and deceptively fizzy drinks. Just one massive sugar supply chain right across. Just break it down into smaller and smaller packages with even more and more concentrated sugar in the drinks and the foods. But if the government could limit the import of sugar into New Zealand, as well as the production of artificial sweeteners, then we could slow down the damage to the health of the population, because the food producers would have to try harder to get their food tasting better and learn how to keep it fresher without ramming it full of highly addictive sugar to increase sweetness and act as an effective preservative, or even worse in diet options, as they potentially use carcinogenic artificial sweeteners. Unless in a few products they use stevia instead, which is a lot better with it being natural. The difference between a dangerous high sugar, protein starved diet and a sugar-free, low carb, high fat protein diet is profound, as the difference between cars that run on petrol or diesel. Whereas petrol people get the initial sugar rushes from the bursts of sugary foods like a nitrous oxide injection and then crash shortly after. Diesel people benefit from the slow burning carbs from veggies, healthy fats and nuts, and the fish and long-term muscle development from the protein. Imagine it's like the turbo on a diesel that increases your torque and available power to overtake the pack steadily without the need to stop for fuel as often. So uphill, that power can just keep you on going there, steady, and that's what it's like going through the day until you go to bed at night. In the long run, we should also be more concerned about our overall body shape and general muscle tone by sculpting our bodies, rather than just sheer fitness or overdeveloped muscles that are often out of proportion with the rest of our bodies. But how many people have seen or who are these undoubtedly unfit people, but they have nasty wiry bodies or imbalanced shapes that could not be described as good looking, i.e. skinny birds that have lost their looks or boobs by not having healthy fat in their diet, just like the pop stars Jessie J and Ariana Grande. Or those girls that work out too much and consume excessive amounts of protein and get wide shoulders and tight waists, like the mesomorphic men that they emulate. So yeah, switch over to a diesel way of going as soon as you can, and you won't feel the cravings like you did for their sugars anymore. And after about 2 months, it's really hard to go sugar free and get it out of your system. If you can struggle on for 2 months, maybe having the odd slip here and there, and beat sugar as an addiction, you'll never look back. It'll be the best thing you ever do. So good luck with that, and thanks for listening.